Good morning. My name is Derry, and today we are going to be beginning a very long journey, a process which is daunting to many. The process of comic creation. Let's go! I'm excited to go on this journey with everyone. I don't know if I'll be able to stick everything on stream, but that's currently the goal. So I'm going to be streaming pretty consistently as we work on this for the next 4 weeks. And I hope everything goes smoothly. All right. I'm just quickly setting up some final things. Let me double check that I'm live on the platforms I put down. All right, looks like we're good on Twitch. I'll check YouTube real quickly. Looks like we're good on Twitch. Oh, I was very audible on Twitch. All right, says we're live. I'm not able to see the chat on my phone just yet. And it's also saying that the stream I'm doing right now was 1 month ago. Let me restart the app on my phone. There we go. Now it says we're up and running. Good. All right. And seems like we have everything kind of working together. Did I forget anything? I hope not. In that case, let's we'll just open a new canvas for now. Get the ideas flowing. So let me hop on over to the drawing software. There we go. We also got that nice Zelda lo-fi in the background. Very exciting. All right. So today we're beginning the process. So we have some things we got to figure out before anything else. Those things are we got to figure out what the plot's going to be about. We got to figure out the characters. And probably the setting. So these 3 attributes are pretty important. Other things we can kind of dwell on is just... I don't know. We have some parameters before I get into everything, and I do need to announce, and I will say it multiple times, March Club is forcing this upon me. They kind of said, hey, you have to make this comic in a month. A few other people are also going to be making comics, and I'm excited to delve into what they're coming up with later. But for now, we're essentially held at gunpoint. We have to make this, otherwise I will die. That's what I've been told. I think it might be a little excessive, a little dramatic, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Now, we actually have some parameters here. So we pull those up. These are the parameters. The comic should be 5 to 10 pages long, in normal comic page format. So we're not going to be doing anything fancy, like, well, I say fancy. We're not doing vertical scroll. What's up, Mikan? I see the ... But yeah, we're not doing vertical scroll. We are allowed to play with colors if we want to, or we can keep it more manga-esque, just straight up black and white. It must be an original work, so we can't grab, you know, what is it, like Kirby from Smash Bros. And create a story with Kirby. We have to use our own original ideas. And, you know, originality is a bit of an iffy term, a bit of an iffy consequence, but we do need to have some organic juices flowing. And no homework needed. I don't know what that means. I feel like this entire thing is just homework. And most importantly, the core attribute of this is this little thing right here. Must include theme meeting. So that's what the entire comic's going to be about. It has to have a core theme. of meeting. Now, I'm adding a couple extra rules. Let's actually grab big, scary anti-aliasing brown brush. So, yes, it must include the theme. It says no homework needed. That's far-fetched. Page format, 5 to 10, yada, yada, yada. I feel like we should add a couple extra parameters just so we have them clear. I think it would be good to... Oh no, I had in my head what else I wanted to stipulate for myself, but I'm blanking on it. Oh, yes. So, fun line art. Oh my gosh, I cannot write. Ooh. Ooh. I'm not having a lot of great consistency in the line work for my writing. So I want to have fun line art. What do I mean by that? My line art is very stiff and formulaic. Hello, Yum Yum. How are you? So, for example, my line art is kind of more akin to this. And then I add some line weight, which is good. Where the shadows would be. But I want to have fun with it. I want to be able to grab a textured brush. That I proceeded to not grab a textured brush. Here, I want to grab a texture brush. And be able to just, like, paint the line work. I want to have as much fun with the lines as I do with the normal painting process. That's what I mean by fun line art. Oh, Yum Yum, you're slowly dying? You might be sick? You gotta take better care of yourself, buddy. What's wrong? While Yumi's telling us what's wrong with him, let's keep a little bit back on track. Because I am very easy to just derail myself. So, we need to figure out plot, characters, and the theme, which is meeting. Alright. Yumi says, I didn't sleep well yesterday, but also I used up my voice, but I'll be okay. Aw, Yumi, that's unfortunate. Well, I hope you sleep better tonight. It's already pretty late. Maybe you should get some sleep now. That in red because of how important that is. Alright, so we can tackle these kinds of elements in any order, right? I'm not sure which order I want to go with for this project. Usually, well, for the comics I do have, I kind of figure out all the different elements kind of individually and then combine them together, right? Like I figure out elements of the setting, and then I figure out characters, then I figure out plot. Yumi says, I just want to say hi and leave your stream on. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, Yum Yum. Hello. But in this case, I'm not sure I have the time to just kind of do deep explorations with every single aspect. There's also the fact that we only have 5 to 10 pages to work with, which is comforting that we don't have to worry about doing this big, massive chapter in a month. But that brings a different problem. We gotta condense. And condensing can actually be harder than adding more pages. Filling it out, that's easy. You know, creating this long adventure where you get to spend the time with an entire couple pages. just letting characters breathe. But exactly what you're saying, Mikon, lesser pages harder. It's such a restriction. I think this is truly going to be the real shackles in our process. Now, I have experience creating stories that are really short, and they are fun. Currently, I've created, most recently, a 3-page promotional for my comic, and it's really impactful and really nice. However, I had a lot of groundwork set up. I knew what it was going to be leading into, and I had a lot to draw from to create it. But I don't want to repeat that same kind of comic, you know? I want to do something fresh. And the thing is, it was very easy to make a 3-page comic of this impactful moment that carries a lot of weight. I'm not sure I want to do something as heart-wrenching, you know? So that leads us at a harder dilemma. We gotta balance this out. Also, we have the aspect of meeting. And since meeting is the theme, the meeting itself, to me, is the most important part. We can get away with very simple character designs, nothing flashy. We can have a pretty mundane, like, urban world plot, setting, and the plot would need to shine. Essentially, what I've learned from analyzing different comics, you need to excel in either the plot, the characters, or the setting. If you excel at one of those, people tend to forgive the others. A good example, I'm not going to say that, because I don't want to be putting down aspects of other comics, so I'm actually going to stay away from my examples. But I will say, a lot of different stories usually lean in on one element more than the other. A game such as Genshin Impact, their character designs are very alluring for a wide demographic. As a result, they were able to grab mass appeal. I personally think that their plot, at least from the first opening of the game, right, when it was first released several years ago, I think the plot at that time was really abysmal. I could not handle it, right? But I stayed a bit longer than I probably would have because I thought the characters were interesting. Some worlds are really good at world building, and because of that, they keep expressing a world you want to live in. So they can get away with their characters being flat and maybe not the most interesting of plot, but since the world's so fantastical, you want to engage with it. And then there's some series where it's like, yeah, we've seen the same. We have seen the same. Sorry, I said backwards. We've seen the same kind of story played out multiple times with the same cast of character archetypes, right? So the characters are dull to us because we've seen it. The setting is, pretty familiar, right? Like, take a zombie outbreak archetype, right? You have a setting like that, and then all the characters play into the archetypes that you're used to, right? You have one heavy in the group that's not the smartest. It's a tell-all tale, but what really diversifies it is maybe the way they approach how the characters interact within the setting, right? What's at stake? The plot. So if we can just pinpoint one of these to really hit the nail home on, that can carry most of the legwork, right? But it's a themed challenge, kind of like a game jam. It is a comic jam. So what we got to do is really hit home on that core theme, meeting. And there's two ways we can look at it. I think that you either want to do the meeting at the beginning or the end. We don't have a lot of time to really develop from a midpoint, 5 to 10 pages is not a lot to develop a meaningful story. So you need the meeting to be the most impactful part of the story. Some may think that you should put it at the beginning, right? The characters meet, and then because of that meeting, we see how it plays off, right? I think mystery and intrigue are a very powerful narrative device that we can use to our advantage here. It's a lot easier to get people to ask questions than to just give them the satisfying answers off the bat. So I think I would prefer to have the meeting be at the end. This impactful moment where we see the characters kind of working together to finally, you know, marry in the narrative, you know, become face to face. All the struggle's been worth it. And we have this beautiful panel of like they finally see each other. So that's where my thoughts are on the significance of it. Mercer says, when do they and the narrative kiss then? Probably in the third act, you know? And it'd be a very, like, wet kiss, too. Because, you know, you want to get people excited and you want to draw them in. You know? Appeal to the demographic. Sorry, that was a response to Eraser, who asked, when do the narrative kiss then? Eraser then says, really drag out the kiss for like 3 pages? I think drag it out for like a good 7 or 8 pages, if I'm being honest. But you bait it out a couple times. So, hold on, I got a cough. I am back. Racer then says pure fan service, indeed. So what we got to do here is we kind of imagine a bit of a scenario. I think doing so can help with the characters. In terms of setting, I lean towards fantasy, and I've jumped towards sci-fi. Something I don't tackle too often is a modern urban setting. I think it's not particularly exciting, and we can do elements to spice it up, right? I think the best thing to do with setting is to not address it, especially for something this small scale. Of these 3 kind of elements, I think I personally lean towards characters and plot holding a lot of weight. Hello, Animation Boy. We are creating a comic in a month. So right now I'm laying down the groundwork. I'm addressing my current thoughts and procrastinating actually jumping in. Although we have the plot and characters holding a lot of weight to start this off. And the setting is, to me, it's a bit of a... It's not the focus, if that makes sense. I think when the setting is the focus is when it's intertwined with a plot or character. For me, the setting is kind of... I prefer it to be the background in a general sense. I don't want to worry too much about fleshing out this whole fantastical setting. Try writing a plot? I will. First, I'm just trying to figure out some ideas. We're at the very beginning stages. So, let's see here. I think the plot and characters are pretty intertwined, so I like doing something that's very significant in both. Let's see here. But have you tried writing a plot, though? I have... On this project, no, I have not tried writing a plot just yet. Currently, we have not gotten that far. Currently, we have a blank canvas with a couple of parameters. Alright, let's see here. Let's just close our eyes and kind of imagine for a minute what kind of scenario we want to go into. Alright. So with the theme meeting, what's a fun, impactful kind of encounter? I think... I don't know. There's a song by the band The Script called The Man Who Can't Be Moved. I think I'd like to take some inspiration from that, just off the top of my head. I don't know if we're going to commit to this idea at all, by the way. This is just the brainstorming session. I do really like the premise they kind of set up of this character that's standing still, you know, waiting for a chance of forgiveness and, you know, being stalwart at this kind of, you know, one position. I think the concept of just someone sitting there as seasons pass and, you know, just drawing out as long as they can this element of hope that they can kind of restore their life to where it was or find something greater, I think is interesting. Seeing how far someone will go to just stand in the face of, you know, oh goodness. Yeah. No, I kind of like that premise. So, in that kind of scenario, what would the meeting payoff be? I like the idea that the main character is this girl on a train, and by one of the train station stops, right? There's like this nice little fountain, and there the man is waiting, right? And he's waiting for this significant person. And one day, out of curiosity, she's seen him standing there, and it looks like he hasn't moved in a couple days. So she goes over and just kind of interacts with him. And, he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, hi. I'm just waiting here. You can leave me be. But she gets curious and they begin to chat, and then she begins to admire him. And, I think there'd be some interesting tension there as, she begins developing feelings for him and caring about him and taking care of him while he's just waiting, leaving his heart on the line for someone that may never give him the time of day again. I think is very interesting. So that could be a fun idea. Hmm. So if we think about what the meeting could be, what the encounter is there, we either lay into the fact of her meeting this bizarre man and just kind of, wanting to be there for him and take care of him, seeing his determination, his hope kind of inspire her. Or we can have the meeting be something bittersweet, you know? At by the end of the 10 pages, she has fallen head over heels for him, cares about him, and when she goes to finally confess, that's the day the person he'd been waiting for finally comes back. Actually, that would be an interesting inciting incident. Yeah, I could see that being the inciting incident. And then in the climax, either like he says no to her and decides to go on a proper date with the girl that's been waiting for him the whole time, or he tells the lady she deserves someone better than him, something like that. I'm not sure if how satisfying of an ending I want it to be. I might just want to make people cranky, provoke. But I think that's an interesting premise. So I like that idea. Girl falling for man who can't be moved. Girl falling for man. Can't be moved. With that one, we can also play with kind of different kind of story elements of like, you shouldn't wait to make life happen, because if you wait too long, you may miss your opportunity. So things like that. Another thing that we can do. So this is like option A. Option B. I don't know. I like the idea of some strangers. Strangers meet who are lost. Actually, who are both lost. cost. And survive together. So that's good. That's another good premise. So what I'm thinking there for meeting is that one's more you meet at the beginning. So girl falling for a man who can't be moved. I guess that's also meet at beginning. But what I'm thinking of for option B is, let me get rid of where it says most important, so that's actually a bit more legible. I'll make that a bit bigger. For option B, I think it's an interesting kind of dynamic to play off of. I like those tales where two people are just kind of stranded in the woods, right? And they kind of meet up and kind of just start surviving together. You know, a development of kinship, I think, is what I find interesting about that one. Like, they meet each other, they start hanging out, they have a falling out on page, like, 5 or 6. And then on the last few pages, they resolve their differences. A story like that's one I would be interested in pursuing. Maybe I could go up here. Both of those are kind of like more modern day as well. It would be really funny. Hear me out. It would be really funny if in like option C, the meeting is an actual like you're trying to get a new job. Just be super on the nose with it. So a job interview. All right, but if it was a job interview, you would want to make it interesting, make it fun. So let's step away from the more urban kind of area, right? Let's try to think of something fantastical for a job interview. What would be an interesting job interview to do? Hmm. Hmm. I think an interesting job interview could be along the lines of, I don't know. When I think of job interview, I think of like a comedic kind of 8 to 10 page comic. And I like the idea that there's some twist at the end that like the person's signing up to join like a cult or something, right? Yeah, so it's either like a job interview or promotion, and the promotion is like maybe they're like trying to be promoted to be like a sacrificial lamb or something. And the job interviewer is just completely opposed. You could do some interesting like setting design with that one. So for me, that'd be very like setting and plot focused. A job interview or a promotion. Yeah. I think that's an interesting premise. These plots are also very premisey. Like they have an idea of like a, you know, a plot, but they're pretty vague. But to be fair, you don't want to do something too detailed and intriguing when you have such strict confines to work with, 5 to 10 pages. So you don't want to do something you explore too much. You want to keep it simple. Right now, C is the most alluring one to me, actually, because it's so simple. So we can break down these into even bigger archetypes. So that's like romance. This is like kinship. And then the job interview is just like comedy. So there's also some kind of different genres we can be looking at. I think genre is also pretty important. And with comedy, you have like subcategories, right? Where you have like dark humor, you have something a bit more straight-laced, like a sitcom, or you have something that's just like a general light-hearted, jokesy fun. So these are the three main ideas I'm looking at. But we just keep brainstorming. That's all today is for. We brainstorm, we figure out all the different possible avenues we want to travel, and then we cut them off one at a time. We decide on something. The Zelda music really helps. Hmm. I think job interview could be very fun. B, I don't really have like a strong idea. So I think something to make the strangers one more interesting. I'm thinking that perhaps they were in like a plane crash or something. You know, very generic. But it's very straightforward and easy to digest. But I'm thinking one of them's like a general just victim of what happened, and then the other one, either it was by accident or intentional, but they made the ship crash. And that would be an interesting driving force of conflict in it. Yeah, those are some interesting ideas. I do want to make sure that whatever premise we choose is something we're actually passionate about doing. Because it would suck to spend like a week or two doing a storyboard of this kind of scenario that we just end up not loving. Hmm. Let's see here. So it would also be interesting if the job view person, job interview with or promotion, um, lied about everything on the resume. A true journey and conquest of gaslighting, I think, is what that would be about. And I think that seems really entertaining. Okay. While falling for a man who can't be moved. Let's explore that idea a little more. So, how would we fit that into 5 to 10 pages? I think the most difficult thing about that one to me is making the process of her feelings kind of being developed for him seem believable in that small amount of pages. But we could do it. We could solve it. Here's how you do it. She's already fallen for him. And the 5 to 10 pages is about her either being denied or chosen for the relationship. But the first page just kind of establishes how she met him and how long she's been taking care of him. So that would be interesting. And then for the strangers, what I want to show with that meeting. There's a lot you could play with it. There generally is. It could be your typical, like, big bushy beard man survivor archetype. Or I want to find a way to make it more interesting. Because right now it's like, yeah, that's an idea. That's a route we could take, but it's not appealing to me in the same way that option A and C is. Does that mean we should just scratch it? No, I think we're too early to do that. We can, but I want to make sure that we're not just cutting that off before it had a chance to grow, you know? Hmm. Okay, okay. So I just thought of an idea for option D as well. So option D. Oh, like Danny Phantom. Option D should be something a bit more akin to like a revenge arc, right? Um what is it? Meeting the person who ruined your life. A nice little, like, a villain archetype. So my girlfriend, she loves a good villain. There's something really alluring to her about the character that is more, I would burn down the world for you rather than I would sacrifice you to save the world. You know? And I kind of get that allure. I think that's a very interesting character to watch. Someone who would be willing to do something so awful because they care so much. So I think it would be interesting if, uh, the person that they're, like, getting revenge on is a very morally awkward scenario, right? Like, the person that they're, wanting to kill is this very nice guy that, donated his left kidney, gives to charity every year, and is currently the crux of kind of keeping the world afloat, right? And, this person that who got their life ruined by them, they don't care about any of that, right? They do to an extent, right? They know that what they have done is good, right? But because they've also done this one bad thing, and this one bad thing impacted them so badly, they can't see a world where they should live for it. So perhaps it would be this, like, conflict of, like, he meets him and he starts, get like spewing out all of this, um you took everything from me, and he's like, no, you can't kill me, I've done so much good, and he, like, starts listing off all the good he has, and the main character is just struggling to, convince himself that this guy really deserves death. And then at the last moment, um he says, okay, I respect what you've done, but I can never forgive you. And then he just goes for the kill, blood, kill, murder, blah. That's where we want to go, like, angsty, edgy route, though. But I think that kind of, like, scenario is a fun thing to play with. All right, we have 4 potential avenues, and now I'm feeling a lot better about all of them, which is good. I think that means they all are decent. Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not sure how many, like, character quirks we could explore and stuff. I'm very nervous to actually, like, write good characters for this. To be clear, I'm not saying I want to write poorly written characters. I'm just saying I'm afraid of investing too much that will never get seen. It's those little details that are fun to pursue in projects. And just in general, outside of projects. It's fun to imagine what your character's favorite kind of, like, food is. How they would pass the time, What their rooms look like. Elements like that are very, very integral to the enjoyment of creating characters. So going in knowing that we can't commit to that necessarily is a bit of a aw kind of moment. I'm realizing now how a sloppily I wrote man can be perceived as girl falling for mom who can't be moved. I'm gonna readjust that real quickly. There we go. Now we can fix up some more of my writing, just in case someone pops in and they try to read it and they're like, what the heck does this say? My penmanship's pretty good on paper, but because my drawing tablet feels so glossy in comparison, it just makes my stylus just go wee all over the screen. Especially when I'm trying to write, like, effectively. But if you slow down, it's fine. Mikon says, just put a paper on top of your tablet. Does that actually work, or are you memeing? Because I have no idea. Because as long as I can read the stylus through it, it's like a what is it, thin enough sheet of paper, that could actually work. It does? Oh. I might try that. I currently don't have easy access to paper, surprisingly. Like, it's all stocked away, because I've been doing so much digital. So I have nothing, like, on hand. Might wear down your nibs, though. I haven't changed my nibs since, like, 2018, 2019. I've had the same nib that whole time. In fact, I don't think I've ever had to change a stylus nib. I've done it a couple times just so I would know how, and I wasn't sure if I needed to, but I generally don't need to change my stylus nibs. I also just press really lightly all the time. All right, Mikon, what do you think of these 4 different premises? Well, I want to hear your thoughts. Which of these 4, A through D, seems the most interesting to you? I'll doodle a little villain. You're doing this, you would do C? Yeah. The issue with A, B, and D is I can easily think of a very long and compelling way to do each. While C is a very short encounter. That makes it extra alluring. All right, in that case, let's do a little brain board of B. Sorry, C. All right, we could probably move job and are centered. There we go. I like this little bubble at the middle. Very nice. So let's actually shrink that down. Let's switch to like a 5 point. Maybe 7. Yeah, 7's a bit better. All right. So I like the idea of twist. Job for Colt. Job is to be Colt. Job is to join Colt would be a better way to say it. I also like the idea that, what is it? Instead of main character, let's just write protagonist. Protag lied about whole resume. I also like the idea he doesn't know what he's applying for. Effie! Oi, oi, oi! How are you, Effie? By the way, Effie, Evie showed me the pictures. It was so good! I'm so happy for you all. Right now, we have been challenged by March Club to create a comic in a month. Whenever your art appears on my lock screen, I show it to the others. That is so kind of you, Effie. I appreciate you. Right now, we're trying to come up with ideas for the premise of this comic. Right now, the main... this is the parameters of the comic, Effie. It needs to be 5 to 10 pages. It needs to be page format, so it's not vertical. It's like standard traditional comic. It can be colored, black and white, or black and white, so like a manga or more Western. Must be original works, so we can't grab like Kirby. What is it? No homework necessary, and it must include the theme of meeting. Very cool. You want to see the comic? This is what we have so far. We started it live with literally nothing less than an hour ago. You know what the protagonist should be? Tell me, Effie. A frog? Frog people. We are in the brainstorming phase. There is very few exceptions to bad ideas. If any of you have any wonderful ideas, feel free to pelt it at me. I will not mind one bit. And it will probably get on the board in some variant. I do like the idea that it's like a bit of like a fantastical setting, right? You should have someone making a Frogosea for you at the moment. That's amazing. I think ribbit people, like little like rock frog guys, are so fun. Having a frog character would be crazy. Talk me through what you already have. All right. This will be the recap. Sorry for those that have been hearing me dwell on this. So, first thing I did is I broke down the 3 different elements of what I think is important in a story, and fixating on what kind of comic jam we're doing, which is the theme of meeting. So I think the plot and characters were the most important to me here. I think the setting is fine, but it shouldn't be a main focus when we have 5 to 10 pages to work with. Now, we have 4 different potential main ideas for what to do with a story, that a story revolving around a meeting, a type of encounter. First of all, if you've ever heard of the hit song by The Script, The Man Who Can't Be Moved, we took some inspiration from that, about this girl who was traveling by the train and one day sees this very handsome man that's just kind of sitting around at the fountain. And every single day she drives by it, right, on the train to work or college or whatever, he's still standing there. Eventually, she goes and says hi, meets him, and starts taking care of him as he's not able to take the best care of himself. She finds out the reason he's there is out of love. He's holding on to hope that some partner he had, how do I put it? He had done wrong and is waiting for them to just kind of... Sorry if you can hear the door being rattled. My dog is full on tackling it for attention. But yeah, they are essentially waiting for their partner to change their mind about them and come back and be in a relationship again. And the girl that's been taking care of him is falling head over heels for them. And in a climactic twist, they finally meet up with each other. And he chooses the old girlfriend, or either chooses her. We don't know quite yet, but that's kind of the premise. A bit of a love story. Option B, there was a plane of people. They crash, and then two of the strangers from the plane crash kind of work together to survive, and one of them finds out that one of the strangers kind of intentionally sabotaged the flight to crash. After that, also, sorry if you can hear my dog. It sounds violent. The twist there is that one of them sabotaged it, and then they are like, okay, well, that sucks of you. But we are kinned now. We are like brothers. We will continue to survive together. Something like that, to that end. Option C, a job interview. So an 8 to 10 page comic about a job interview where the main character lied about everything on their resume and doesn't know what they're signing up for. But has to try to convince that they're, that the person that they're interviewing with, that they did not lie on their resume. And, just, it's a bit of like a debate. And then option D is kind of like a revenge story, taking the concept of meeting the person that's done you wrong, the person that ruined your life, and then what if they're actually like morally great? They're not the villain you thought they were. Would you still try to take their life for what they did to you, or would you let them go? So that kind of scenario. And yeah, that's kind of the recap. And then I asked Mikan which one he thought was interesting, and he said job interview. So we're exploring that now. And oh my gosh, it got lively. I see that Effie and Steezus are having fun chatting about frogs, and honestly, frogs are very entertaining. I also like frogs. Effie says, I feel like D would work best in a fantasy setting, and I like that one most. Oh, you both like D the most. Really? I was kind of with Mikan on the job interview. Well, we'll play through the meeting the person who ruined your life kind of story. I imagine that would have to take place at the beginning of the encounter. So it kind of start off like, finally, time for my revenge kind of moment. And then job interview would, take place going into the interview. And I think it'd be a fun twist at the end of the interview is, since he doesn't know what he's applying for, he just fought for his life to sign up to either be like a sacrifice in a cult or just to join a cult in general. And it's like, uh-oh. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep brainstorming for job interview. And then we'll swap over and brainstorm for a few of the other ones. Probably option D, since y'all find it a bit interesting. D's nuts. Oh my gosh. Effie, you've been played. Alright, interesting things for the interview. Got him. Alright, let's see here. I think of other ideas. Having them be frog people would be interesting. Scared. Poor Effie. Opened your heart, but you did the D's nuts first, to be fair. I started doodling. I should not doodle right now. So let's see here. Happens to the best of us. It really does. Wait, Derry, imagine an office setting, but everyone is frogs. I was imagining the job interview was in like an office environment. I don't know if I want everyone to be frogs. I think it'd be, if they're going to be non-human species, I think it would be more interesting if the like interviewer was a different species than the interviewee. I do really like the idea of having some rivets in it. Different kind of frog? Maybe not a different kind of frog. Frog boss? Mr. Crook? Oh my gosh. Mr. Croak, you mean? Croak. Alright. Protag is desperate for the job. I think I like that. No, cause Croak would be too on the nose. I see. Protag. I don't remember what I just said. Squeaker, Rainfrog, squeak instead of ribbit. Oh, I see. Protag is desperate for your job. I think would be an interesting idea. You go, eee! Okay. That was desperate for a job. Let's see here. I like the idea that the interviewer is... What's the word? I like the idea that the interviewer is just kind of like tough as nails, you know? It's unconvincing. Or what's the right term for it? Someone who's very like particular. Give Toad vibes. I see. Unhinged? Unhinged is crazy. Direct. Stern might be the word I'm looking for. Stern. Suspicious. Okay. Cold. Yeah, we can put in cold as well. I like the idea of the protagonist kind of like sweating in the interview, right? Like they need to rely on their pure ability to just, for lack of a better word, bullshit their way through it because they need that job. that they don't even know what it is. I like these different elements at play. So it can take place in some kind of like office as well. Let's see here. What if it's secretly not as difficult as it seems because they really need new cultists? Yeah, I feel like they're willing to take everyone, but there's like some specific things they need to make sure of. Right? And I like the idea that he doesn't like at all state what the job's actually for. So the protagonist is constantly in like a I have no idea what I'm signing up for right now, but I need money. Let's see here. All right, and then let's also. I'm willing to start one now for the meeting the person who ruined your life. What would happen after they find out what it's really for? I think that's where it would end, because I think that'd be a funny like twist. Like how I think the timeline of events kind of happen. We find out that we get the exposition that the main character is desperate for a job, and they sent flyers out for everything. And this is the first one that's said yes and not turned him down right away. And it seems like he's actually able to get the job, and then the twist throughout the kind of like conversation, right? The inciting incident, is he gets caught on one of the lies, and then he has to double down and prove it. And once he proves it, he's able to get the job. But then the bigger twist is we find out that the job is for joining like a cult or something equally as shady and undesirable. He's like, uh-oh. I like the idea that it inspires you to think of, oh, what happens next. I like having shorter stories end that way. So meeting the person who ruined your life. I'll make this kind of like bubble point be a bit more like pointy to kind of show the dichotomy. So, first of all, I think, what is it? Protag's there to kill this person. Protag is here on revenge to kill. However, some contrast is the person we'll just underline them as person for now. Person is I want to say it's morally like person is distraught. I mean, probably. I want it to be morally gray why the like to actually kill the person, right? Like, does the ends actually justify the means? Sorry. Does the means actually justify the ends in this scenario, actually? Person has done a lot of good. Maybe doesn't deserve to die. I think the more important part would be how and why they ruined it, structuring the story around that. Yeah, but I don't know. That so the thing is, the premise is about the theme. And sorry, and the theme is meeting, right? So what's really important is how this specific encounter happened. The things in the past is important as it's the ammunition as to why it's happening, but what should really be at play here is the theme of meeting, right? So what in this meeting is creating a conflict, right? To me, that what's interesting about it is the potential is, hey, what if the person that I've been sent out to kill, right, or that I want revenge on, after officially meeting them, I see that they're actually a person, you know? Kind of like how sometimes in life you meet people who you just think are absolutely despicable, but then at one point you have a conversation with them and you're like, dang, you're like a person with your own problems and fears and ways of getting around. Oh my gosh. Oh, Mekon. That's beautiful. Person doesn't remember protag. I love that. Effie then says, the interesting part of the story could also be to find out there's more than one side to a story. That's true. I do like the angle that Mekon just said though, because that's a lot of fun to tackle, right? Um it brings more incentive for the protagonist to kill, but the person that they're trying to kill is just like, I don't know what I've done wrong. What if amnesia? That might be a bit too much. But I don't know. Putting a villain in a position of like, oh, what if it's not only that they don't remember the protag, but they're like, what is it? They're dying already. Person is dying. Or in a pathetic situation. Because I also find that interesting. When someone that's actually been horrible and tortured you and like traumatized you your whole life, and you meet up to this final interaction of conflict, and they're just pathetic, you know, not even worth the effort to end. You know, like, I'd kill you, but like, you're 90 years old in a wheelchair. I feel like I'm doing you more of a favor. Or perhaps the person feels he does remember, but he feels guilty. Right? And he just breaks down crying, you know, going like, I'm so sorry. I've wanted to take back what I did to you all these years. And, you know, the protagonist is in a position of like, I can't forgive you, but you're making me like, yeah, that kind of avenue is also interesting. That's right. Person feels guilty. Yeah, let's have fun though. Let's see how this guy ruined his life. How did person ruin protagonist's life? Hmm. So let's go with how person ruined protag life. Let's go with an easy one. Killed a family member. If only I could spell. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm spelling it fine. I'm just not writing it very cohesively. Family member. Could also be what is it? Killed a family member. Tortured protag in some way. I'm not sure what that way is. Could have. I'm not thinking inherently just like physically like beating protag, but I mean all other methods of like the kind of torture I'm thinking of could have been like just made their life hell growing up. So maybe it was some kind of teacher, right? That just did like some cruel and unusual punishments, right? Like force them to run like laps after hours of school, right? To make up for speaking out in class, holding their grade above their head, ruining entire like childhoods. Yeah. So the main ways that I think you could ruin someone's life is by it. I feel like it's often less attacking the person whose life you're ruined. A bullying story could also work. Ooh. Bully. Yeah. Bullying is very, very real, very authentic. It's a way that you can have it be believable, but without having it be too extreme. I like that, Effie. Thank you. Bully. Yeah, I have another idea for the meeting one. Sorry, not meeting one, for the job interview. There's this like character I conceptualized a long time ago that he just looks like an average guy. His name's like Joe or something. And the whole concept is he's this average guy that just does insane things, or like insane things just keep happening to him. And he's just trying to live his normal life, you know, getting water from the water cooler and getting his reports in on time. But he's like, you know, endures like alien abductions and spy missions and all that stuff. But like, he's oblivious to it. He's just kind of doing his own thing. But I'm not sure. I suppose if we did that in the job interview, how it would go down most likely is the job interview would be him just kind of like explaining the crazy stuff he's done, and the interviewer not believing it. And then, yeah, I don't think that's as good of a twist as what we currently have for that kind of subject, though. But we have some interesting concepts so far. So, yeah, the person could feel guilty. It used to be an ex-bully. Hmm. Yeah, it's harder for me to get in the mindset of this protagonist, because I don't know anyone that's bullied me so intensely that I could reach this capacity of hatred. That is a bit concerning for me in terms of like writing them. Let's see. Hmm. I'm liking the plot ideas we have so far. I think the job interview is fun, and then the what is it? The revenge story is very like intense. So it's two very different sides, like two very different extremes. He says maybe the bullies were responsible for the suicide of a friend. Yeah, that would be quite dark. Hmm. I don't know. This is a. I'm concerned that this might be a bit much for now. Like, it feels like a story I'm gonna have to dwell on for a while. I don't know if we have time for that. Because we're not gonna get... Oh, actually, why are we gonna get work done over the weekend? So I'm busy Sunday. I suppose we could possibly do something like Saturday? Alright. So we will definitely be working on this more on Saturday. I did not say, hey Siri. Whoops. That iPhone AI is a bit of a scoundrel most of the time. Yeah, so I think either Saturday or Monday we are going to be working on characters' designs. Because once we have kind of the the plot figured out, we'll create some character concepts, and then from there we'll create an actual outline. And once we do the outline, we can move on to the actual comic. But we're inside these conception stages, and they're pretty important. I would say the concept, and then the outline, and then the storyboard. Most important part. The storyboard carries the rest of the comic. Everything else is like good, but it's not the same, you know? Hmm. Let's see here. I don't know. I was thinking it would be fun to have it be like some kind of like a fight. But for what we have envisioning right now, that wouldn't work out too well. So perhaps we don't go down that route. Doesn't this job is to for people. I'm looking at what we have for the job interview. Perhaps we should look at a couple of the other ideas and brainstorm a bit more. I'm I'm very interested in doing the romance one, because I haven't really tried romance too much. I would say out of all of these options for a premise, I've explored them all in pretty fun ways before in other means, but I've never written romance. But I'm also not the biggest romance guy. I do enjoy a good romance, don't get me wrong. But I feel a lot of romance I see depicted are very toxic when it's supposed to be like dreamy and appealing. But to me it always ends up just being like, ugh, that's what you want. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. Well, what we'll do for now is we will put those in a folder called Brainstorm. We'll put the main concepts into its own folder, and then we'll create a new folder for character concepts. And what we'll do is we'll just chat as we explore through the means of artistic freedom. So I think first thing we'll do is we'll set up a few kind of like basic character kind of silhouettes. Let's see here. Let's measure this out so we don't gotta worry about it too much. And we'll probably go over this one again. Okay. All right. I gave them some thunder thighs. Whoops. Gorilla anatomy usually have the knees be going a bit more inward. But I don't want her legs to look like an insect's legs, you know? Alright. Get that exaggerated hourglass shape, and now we have a very basic, you know, kind of just puppet to play with. Is it? I think I made the shoulders a bit too broad for a generic puppet. Yeah. To be clear, there's definitely no rule that says every female needs to have this kind of generic body type. And you should definitely experiment with drawing characters of all different ranges of body types. I'm just doing this as a very basic, generic, kind of like average build. That's what my intent is with these puppets. And then when we get into the finer details of how we want them to look, we'll do so. Oh, and because, what is it? Effie really wants it, we will also be doing a frog. The ribbit. Kind of silhouette. That one's the most furthest out of my general kind of like wheelhouse of anatomy. I think. We got those web toes. Trying to not make him look like a gecko. Maybe I should pull up a quick frog reference. Frogs are a lot like cats, though. They're just kind of... You draw a blob, and you're pretty much there. Just look in our DMs. You're right. There's plenty of frogs in our DMs, Effie. You are very true about that. I think there's actually just so much more versatility in what you could do with a frog person that maybe creating this like basic kind of design for it is not going to be as good as just playing with different silhouettes and different possibilities. But we have it there. You can't say we don't have a little Froggo. It is definitely within our consideration. Make small fat frog? Okay. He's a cute little fella, ain't he? Look at that little frog. Again, you draw a blob, you have a frog. To be fair though, they're pretty fun frogs. I think frogs are pretty great. Look at them. Let's give them a couple watches too. Oh, what a good boy. Look at him. Alright, Effie. You've convinced me. There's gonna be frogs all over the comic. Well, I'll have an Easter egg. If you can find every frog on there. All of you will know it because you're gonna see the process, but... You love him? Look at him! Look at the little guy! Yeah, no, you've convinced me. I am also a frog lover. I think frogs are pretty great. Ribbit, ribbit. We need more frogs. Alright. What do we call these? I'll just call them puppets for now. So we'll just be able to copy and paste one of these silhouettes for when we want to design a character. I think the female one could get a bit more attention to making sure that their body's actually a bit, you know. No. It needs to be a bit, like, generic and straight. Because the design... We're worried about the design, not the personality yet. We'll do a different entire kind of, like, exploration for the personality and dynamic poses and expressing them, right? But for now, we want characters to be characters. Alright. Person is dying in a... Shit. Let's do... Alright, let's name all of these. I'm going to be very simplistic with their concept names. Job interview. Revenge. Let's create one for the romance one. Can't be moved. And who can't. I probably shouldn't label it that. We're getting inspiration from a song, but we shouldn't take it word by word. Let's what would you call that? Train sighting love? Romance? Train meeting. What did I call it? Girl falling for man who can't be moved. Okay. Um, okay. Girl falls for love before first sight. See, that's a good title. We're just trying to make. We need to write down the plot premise, which, yeah, which is why revenge is meeting the person who ruined your life, and job interview is job interview, because that's clearly the most defined plot premise. Girl falls for man. Waiting for someone else. All right, and then we'll do kind of like these heart swirlies. To just kind of give that aroma of this is supposed to be a romance from one glance. I don't know how much that kind of sells it. I'll just throw in a couple hearts here and there. Heart particles. There. What if it's like a Greek setting and the guy was stoned by Medusa? I was thinking it would be interesting to have a Medusa-themed romance, actually. But you're saying like a love story between him and Medusa? Medusa turned man into statue. No, a girl in a place where Medusa stoned a guy. Oh, and like wondering who he was? I like that a lot, Effie. That's a really good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Um, girl falls for statue of man. Yeah, the Medusa falling in love concept has been done many times. That's true. Which is why I was kind of... You probably heard my voice. I was like, I don't know quite yet. But when you elaborated it, yeah, 100%. Also, I just saw your DM of the design being made for you. Holy crow, I was not expecting that. I disagree with it, is what I'll say. I think it should have a big old smile, because I always imagine you with a smile. Medusa. Petrified him. That's how they always look. But you need to have the big old smile. I think that would be very fitting if you had the big old smile. Fall for statue, man. Medusa petrified him. I think the story would be about a girl imagines what the man was like. Yo, JC. You know what else I would like? I think it would be a very sweet ending if her love started to depetrify him. It's like her love like shattered. Maybe the girl tries to bring him back. Yeah. Okay, we're on the same wavelength. From there you could have an ending. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have the ending of it like be like this kind of like Disney fairy tale love where it's like um you know, either the statue's mouth like goes from like this like shocked expression to like a smile while she's sitting with him, or what is it? Or like we watch as a little piece of it starts to crack, you know, as if he's being freed. Yeah. So, girls love like revitalizes him. What's the term for depetrifying? Is it just depetrifying, or is there something more fun? Let's pull out the thesaurus. JC says, "Oh my god, what if it was a fake out? Like she thinks she failed, but like at the very end, he starts to be freed off page. That would be fun. There's a lot we can do with playing with how it could just kind of translate off page. I I like the unstonified. You are truly like enriching my vocabulary right now. Thank you. Term for depetrifying. Petrification. Those afflicted by the petrification can be depetrified. Everything I see about depetrifying has to do with Dr. Stone right now. What is the opposite of petrification? Tranquilize, re-energize, refresh. I see. We're going to stick with depetrify. I couldn't find anything juicy. Whoops. So, girls love depetrifies him. Yeah. Thank you, Effie. You have made this concept take a whole new route. What if she tries to bring him back and accidentally breaks part of him and gets really sad and shit, but then she finds a way, and then it's like the guy with a maybe a missing arm? Yeah, putting it on the board. Girl breaks arm on accident. What if she accidentally broke off his nose? Like she goes to give him a smooch and then like trips and then just like headbutts the nose and it just crackles off. So when he gets revived, he's just missing a nose. That's horrible. Let's not do that. But I think you do better than love being the cure. I mean, it doesn't need to necessarily be the cure. I just think it'd be a nice bittersweet thing. Not bittersweet, but like sweet thing. I don't know. I do completely understand that true love is a age-old trope, but I think it's fun. I haven't explored doing that in a story before, is the main lens I'm looking at. Breaking your partner's arm off is like a love language. Look at Owl House and Timona. Oh my gosh. Mikon says, but what if you reverse the order of the events? Are you saying... what if you reverse the order of the events? Which events are being reversed here? Oh my god, I got your nose. What? Oh no. Mikon, that's horrible. Mikon, why would you do this? Pulvers man. Well, the context of waiting for someone else takes on a whole new meaning with this Medusa story. Oh, what if she has to sleuth out? Maybe. I think my concern with that is that might be too ambitious for an 5 to 10 page comic. I think it's a fun idea, though. I do like it. Hello, girlfriend. How are you? Of course, you show up when we're plotting out romance. Effie's just been cooking, doing all the work for me. It's been great. All right. Romance! Yes. So just to quickly catch you up, I'm not going to explain it in rich detail, but we've come up with a few different ideas for what premise we want to do for this month-long challenge March Club has forced me into to create a comic in 4 weeks. Oh, you're all good. No pressure about what time you join in. I'm just happy you're here. Yes, the theme of this comic jam is... what is it? Meeting. M-E-E-T-I-N-G. Not like the food, but like the encounter. So we've just been, you know, knocking our heads around. Do the cosplay girlfriend, superhero, boyfriend event. That's right! I don't think that one's very much a meeting idea, though. That's the issue. What she's referencing is... what is it? I had this, like, cute little idea, where it's, like, this superhero's dating a cosplayer that makes, the suit for him. And I was like, aww. I just like that premise, you know? That they worked cohesively together as a team. And, you know, could, like, garner support towards him and everything. I just thought it would be fun. Effie says, I think this could work in a shorter story, and it could show your art off because you can implement cool details that you allude to later. That's true. Foreshadowing can be at play. Ice Cream Goddess says, they meet at a con, meet and greet, and she roasts him, then they work together and fall in love. Maybe. I'll put it on the board for now. Instead of superhero, I'm going to write supper hero, because I think it's funny. Superhero X cosplayer. Food hero. Oh dear. So yeah. Effie likes the idea of having the girl save him. So I'll put that in another one. Another bubble over here. So, what is it? I'm somewhat of a supper hero myself when it comes to dinner. I appreciate you. Girl has to sleuth out what happened. To save him. You know, I do like that ending where it's like he starts depetrifying, but she isn't aware of it. So, however the means she depetrifies him, whether it's through the power of love, or through it's the means of, hey, I grabbed some bat guano and poured it on you, and now your rock's crackling and you're back to a person. Whatever the means. I like the idea that she either thinks she's failed or isn't clinging onto the hope that she's saving him still, right? She isn't aware that she's already saved him. Because I just think that ending scene of, you know, the rocks crackling and the soft smile, I think that's like the selling point of this part. Right. I think that's the big climactic panel. Mikon says, but what if she became petrified for him to be unpetrified? Oh, fascinating. I think that idea is interesting. Yeah, Passage of the Curse. I'll put it down, but I will say I think I'm not too positive about pursuing that idea specifically, because what's specifically alluring to me about the idea of the girl falls for the statue of a man is I like the idea that she saw the statue and was like, oh my god, I'm so curious what this person was like. And as she starts imagining this history for him, she starts falling in love with him. And that doesn't work as well to me. If the outcome is she takes on the curse, and then he's like, huh, who is she? Oh, actually, Mikon, I'm actually liking your idea more. Because now, the thing I just pointed out I have an issue with, that can be fixed. And the way it could be fixed is he gets revived and he's like, I'm free. But then he sees her statue and he's like, but I wonder who she is. And then it's like a cycle they continue. Where they like keep turning into statues. Chat is too big brain. Multiple heads work better than one. That's all I'm saying. I'm free, but at what cost? Exactly. And maybe there's an extra poetic bonus ending where they're both statues sitting together on a bench, staring into the sunset. Alright. Yeah, no, this romance is cooking. We are cooking. We are cooking way more than with the other ideas, which is what's surprising to me. Girlfriend says, I thought it'd be like, as he's melting, she's freezing, and he could have, like, heard her talking to him or something, so he's teased by what's just out of reach? Maybe. What if they're both half statues? Oh, it'd be cute if the parts of them that are statues is, like, holding hands. But that's only somewhat cute. Because what happens when they stop... Like, what happens if they need to use the restroom? And their, like, hands are fused together. That's a horrible scenario. Verse is broken. By a girl becoming petrified. Instead. Alright. What if the end Medusa comes back and then, uh-oh, they're both statues? I think that would be the canon ending. She's lived in wait all this time. I'm imagining he's like an old statue. Like, he has moss and, you know, she's like cleans him up and everything. Ice Cream Goddess says he's finally freed and runs to find her only to see her mostly frozen, giving her a kiss to their lips as they transition from flesh to stone. Maybe. Yeah. There's like two routes I'm interested in exploring. We're going to have to commit to one or the other if we do this premise. And those routes is the route where she depetrifies him and the route where he stays a statue. Because I do like the idea of it's just this sweet like story of like her kind of going like imagining this amazing person and falling in love with him. And like sticking with them, right? But I also like it in the fantastical aspect where they're able to be salvaged. Make it like the Jason Todd ending, up to the people, and then you go back and retcon with magic. That's wild. That's a wild statement you just said. I feel like the second one would have to be stretched to fit the page count, though. Stretched out to fit the page count. Where we add him being revived. I'm not sure which one you think would have to be stretched. Well, because of this exploration, yeah, there's two different kinds of romance scenarios I want to explore, but I think this one's the most feasible for a short 5 to 10 page comic. No, I mean, if it was just her fantasizing, it would be difficult to do it more than one page. I strongly disagree. I feel like it would be a multi-series of pages, because you'd show the passage of time as she just keeps coming back to the statue and imagining more and more. Like, I feel like we definitely have the potential to tell a really good story of just simply a girl that fell in love with her idea of what this statue would have been like. I feel like the more fantastical elements we also thought of are very cool as well. And I honestly would like to do both. But I guess at the end it's which story do we think is more interesting to fixate on? Because a story of her exploring her trying to save him from petrification is very different from a story of her falling in love with a person she imprints on him. What if she had a crush on him before he turned to stone, but didn't know him too well, and then just kept returning him to spend time with him? That would also be very cute. That gives us a third option, though, one where she knew him before. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards... I like the idea that he's an old statue. I'm thinking of Himmel from Frieren. Like a big old statue that she returns to with a smile on her face and just makes her, like, giddy, right? But I don't necessarily want her... Okay, I've decided. I think it's the most fun, from my perspective, to explore her not knowing who he is before. I think the mystery, the, like, non-realistic idea of who he could have been adds so much weight to the storytelling. It's just her coming up with ideas. And, I mean, we all kind of do that. We definitely imprint personalities on inanimate objects, right? And so exploring that, I think, is very fun. What if the statue isn't a statue and is instead a frog? She has to kiss the frog for the frog to turn into a prince. Now we're cooking. I'm glad we're steering away from the Disney trope, Sethi. There is a chance he could be like a frog person. No, I think I might have them both be human, but I just want frogs to be surrounding the setting. The statue and the girl are both cats. Okay. We could just have them be actual critters. That is definitely an option. I enjoy drawing people, but I mean, I definitely need practice drawing animals and making them expressive, so there's no issue. Sorry, it's not that there's no issue. It's absolutely fine if we decide, hey, we'll just make it animals. F says, wait, what are the statues actually a really ugly monster? The monster has to riz her up so that when they marry her, he turns into a non-monster. Okay, Effie. I'm not putting those ideas on the board. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. It would be called The Pretty and the Beast. Oh my gosh. What if her fantasizing the statue was alive was just her high on weed, right, the entire time? and just other like psychedelic drugs, right? And she's just like thinking that it's like an actual person, right? But it's just like a normal statue. It was never like a person turned into a statue, right? And then we call it stoned. Ice Cream Goddess says, "Ooh, it would be really cute if the girl has like a cliche scene of following a cat as a kid into a pretty clearing with an old statue that was her friend growing up, and she falls for it as she's older, similar to the time traveler's wife." Yeah, that'd be interesting. We could do that. So, what is it? Girls known the statue her whole life? Is what you're thinking? We'll put it on the board. Girls apostrophe S. So it's girl has. Girls known statue whole life. All right. What if the monster is actually a wooden doll that wants to be a human kid, and the girl is the person who made the doll, and the doll has a cricket friend and tries to explore the world to become a kid? I think it'd be more interesting if the girl was the blue fairy watching over him in that scenario. You know, it says like reads books there and stuff and sees him as one of her only friends, blah blah blah. Call it Pinocchio. So I don't know. I think these ideas are good, but how I'm feeling about the idea, I don't know. What's really fascinating to me is like she's like this adult woman. Maybe she's fragile because she went through like a breakup or something, and then she sees the statue and starts fantasizing. I think if she grows up with it, it starts becoming a little creepy and concerning for me, you know? Instead of romantic. It says, what if the statue was actually a car and the girl was Boots? And then we have the story about those two cat. Oh, are you trying to say Puss in Boots? Or are you trying to say... I'm not sure which one you're referencing with that one, Chief. Alright. So let me reword this real quickly. Let me just reword this and say... The man is a statue. I'm not reading that out loud, girlfriend. Okay, we can move this back to the bottom right corner again. I really like this premise. This is a good premise. I like it. Hmm. And is waiting. At fountain for another girl. Wait. Man won't leave fountain. waiting for a girl. Give him another chance. There we go. All right. The statue is her partner. Oh, okay. Effie, I missed the context you said before that. My bad. No, but what if they were together and she can't let go of him, and the story is actually about getting over the trauma of a deceased loved one? Like the statue is a partner, or was, but she can't let go because he didn't just die, but became a statue. And then girlfriend says, like, she made it to remind her of him and compulsively sketches him and sees things in nature and stuff. Yeah. That seems interesting. I don't know. So one more thing I'll say about that is, first of all, I do like the idea, but I think I think we're losing the meaning in that one. The theme meeting, because it's supposed to be a meeting, right? An event, an encounter, right? So whenever we make it so they already know each other, it makes the encounter a bit, it loses the theme. Yeah, you forgot. It's okay. We're in the brainstorm session, so that's bound to happen. I think the meeting here is so powerful because, what is it? She meets a statue and then falls in love with it because of who she imagined it could have been, right? And to me, that's a good way to follow meeting while pursuing the genre of, like, romance. Yeah, and I think the initial idea I had for it might be a bit too much for this concept. I think it's a good idea still, but I think the rabbit trail we followed for the Medusa one is what I'm dubbing it for now. I think that one's real interesting. I think that's really cool. I was thinking of like a Medusa kind of like plotline scenario recently too. So this resonated extra hard for me as a result. Okay, but when looking at the different brainstorms, right? Revenge is kind of losing me. I think the revenge arc, option D, because I don't know, it feels a bit too brutal and personal for the kind of story I want to write currently. Job interview is a good contender. I like job interview. I think it's funny. And I think Can't Be Moved is really... I like the premise a lot. The premise of this is very fun, and I have a very vivid idea of how it would play out. D felt interesting at first, but is hard to execute. Exactly. And I have no doubt that putting our noggins together, we could all find a way to execute it beautifully. But we have a month to get all this done, and since I'm only working on this specific comic on stream, because I'm working on my other comic outside of the stream, I'm concerned about timing, because I'm not going to have the extra, like, 20-something hours every day to render it out. I only have the few hours I'm going to be streaming every week. So I want to cut down that time as much as possible. Yeah. But, yeah, so I think what we got to do is we got to... We might... We have a choice here. We can either just go Hail Mary and be like, all right, we're doing one of these two, and just commit. Or what we can do... The meeting one sounds fun, but I feel like it could be difficult to make a very coherent story out of it. Like a job. Oh yeah, the job interview one? I don't feel like it'd be too difficult to make a coherent story out of it, because you spend the first page or two just doing the setup of the protagonist's job, and he got accepted for an interview, and it's just like him walking to the interview as he's thinking, damn, I really need this, And then he shows up, and the interview is going great, and then all of a sudden, on page like 4, the guy just kind of goes like, "Okay, but you lied about this part of your resume. How much of this is actually false?" And then the protagonist goes into the spiral where they spend the next like 4 pages trying to just convince him that he's the perfect person for the job, fighting tooth and nail, and it's a dramatic back and forth of just pure like gaslighting, and I think it sounds so fun. And then on the ninth or eighth page, the character is finally convinces the interviewer. The interviewer says, "All right, you're hired." And the protagonist is so happy. And then on the final page, it's revealed that he accidentally signed up for a cult. So I think what is it? Coherent? I think it's very possible. And I think it's definitely very fun. It's very comedic, right? I just think the romance one hits in a very different way. And both of them are comics I'm equally enjoying the concept of, is what I should say. So, I'm not sure. What do you all think? Should we consider... Should we try to decide which one we want to work on? Or should we kind of like sleep on it? Right? See how we're feeling in a couple days. And then take it from there. There's a ton of stuff we still gotta do. Which one haven't you tried? I haven't explored the strangers that meet and are both lost and try to survive together. So, a genre of, like, kinship and survival. Right? But the reason why I haven't started brainstorming that one is because I'm not sure if I really feel passionate about that premise. All of these were very much just stuff that popped up off the top of my head. But B felt the weakest, if that makes sense. And I still feel it's a bit weak. I'm not too excited about it. That's all. Because once we get this premise, you like A or D a lot? I see. Yeah, are people not feeling job interview too much? Because, honestly, if most of you aren't feeling the job interview one, I probably won't do it. Because if all of you are more unanimous in what you think is entertaining, most other people are probably going to find that entertaining. So I'll probably go with, the herd mentality. I also wrote D's premise with you in mind, girlfriend. So. Yeah. C is the theme, but on the nose, and then A is the theme, but like executed with a very different level of care. The job interview one had a funny ending, but the build-up sounds boring. Oh, okay. You're not a big fan of the build-up. I see. While the option A has interesting build-up and an interesting ending. Well, a satisfying ending, I guess. Or a nice ending. Bittersweet? I don't know. I don't know how the ending feels on A. Like, what would he do to get the job? What would he do to get the job? You are right that currently my imagining of it is entirely narrative focused. But like, the thing is, he lied about everything on there. So to prove it, it might be like, Oh yeah, no, I'm a wonderful marksman, and then he has to try to figure out a creative. He has to figure out how to use a gun on the spot, right? Like he gets taken to a gun range, or he's like, yeah, I know how to ride an ATV, and then he just like drives it off a cliff. You know, it it's I think the setup about that one is interesting to me in this lens of like, oh, he has to try to play off his bluff. A girlfriend that says, "Well, the story more like Watsukoi, like first day on the job and then go back and see rather than an interview as at the start." Um, the issue with that again is it loses the theme. The job interview is very much on theme the entire time because the entire thing is a meeting. Oh, Effie, are you not too impressed with what I pitched for the job interview? That's fine. I need to hear this so like, we create the best product possible. It feels a little disconnected. Yeah, that's fair. Like a new employee starts and it's from their perspective and being confused how they got hired. I feel like it's not on theme enough, girlfriend. I don't know. We can focus mostly on A then, because so far I think we flushed out A the best. We kept coming up with fun ideas on how it would work. I think A is pretty good. Hmm. Alternative idea is Effie cooking. It's gonna have to be a really good alternative idea to steer me away from A right now. I think A is nice. Let Effie cook. Let Effie cook. Hmm. Yeah, I see this as a good opportunity to write a nice little like romance comic, which is a category I have never really pursued. I'm a little bit of a romantic in real life, but uh, I don't explore it as much as I do other kind of like genres and scenarios. So I figured if I'm doing a intentionally short-term comic, it might be a good opportunity to explore my creative writing capabilities on that. That's where my head's at right now. Yeah. And what is it? There was an idea Effie said earlier, but it's too close to another concept I have. Effie then says someone falls in love with an alien who doesn't feel the same as humans, like emotion wise, and has to communicate her feelings to it, which makes her ponder about how she feels about the aliens and. Ooh, and what else? Yeah, meeting a. Falling in love with an alien is definitely an interesting premise. It's still in the romance category, though. I thought you were cooking up something for the job interview. Also, I apologize. It's so bizarre to me that YouTube's chat limit's so finite. I wish it was longer. Oh. And then it follows up by creating a disconnect between them with a gap where both sides have to explore their emotions and stuff. That's interesting. Okay. I'm going to put down, what is it? Falls in love with alien. Meets alien and falls in love. What is the prompt for A again? Girl falls for a man waiting for someone else. And then we've explored what if the man is a statue. And then we've explored my initial pitch was there's a man waiting for like someone he had done wrong, like a former lover, right? And he's waiting for her to give him another chance. But we see this through the lens. Wait, it was something else in the other page. Girl falling for man who can't be moved is option A. I will say, this Zelda music's been helping a lot. Like, maybe can't be moved, like, emotionally. That's what you were thinking, then? Yeah. That works. It falls in love. Alien can't. Reciprocate equally. Mark, I do love your mom, but more like a pet. You're starting to do out this idea? I mean, it's just the brainstorming stage. It's just throwing out ideas and seeing what sticks. Alright, well, I think my brain's pretty spent, but I'm liking where we are with the statue idea. I think that idea is definitely the most interesting. So we're going to commit to that one. For now. We'll know for sure when we get back next stream. I am feeling a bit mentally taxed. I got up a bit earlier today and, did some work. But, yeah, I'm leaning towards that one for now. That's where my head's at. And then Saturday, we will be on around the same time to continue work on it. What we're going to be doing Saturday is we're going to take a dive at some of the character designs and drawing out just some concept sketches. Playing with the different elements of this comic and what we want it to be. Perhaps we'll find out a lot more information just through those painting explorations. And after that, I'm going to not stream anything on Sunday. That's my break day. And then we'll be back on Monday to continue the comic. However, tomorrow is ArtTuber Day, so I will only be streaming on Twitch. And I'll be streaming around the same time. That's the plan. Monday. Yeah, so that's the current short-term plan. I'm gonna post my schedule on my socials. Why not YouTube? I'm trying to prioritize video game streams on Twitch and art streams on my art channel. That's why I kind of do that little bit of a divide. But for how I have my stream set up, I need to stream on both Twitch and YouTube to stream to YouTube, which is a little funky. So I just happen to stream on both. But I also think multi-streaming brings in more, more attention, more possibility to meet new people and, have them join in on the journey. On top of that, I think, what is it? I don't know. Yeah, if I play a game, I want it to be on Twitch. I feel like Twitch is a better site for streaming, but if it's art related, I like it to be visible on, the art platform I use. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I'm getting hungry though, and I think I feel very satisfied with what we've explored today. Yeah, next time is going to be character creation, design concepts, and that's all going to take place Saturday and possibly Monday. Once we see where we are with those, we'll start looking at plotting out an outline. But yeah, that's probably going to be it for today, actually. Thank you to everyone that's joined and helped contribute and engage. It was a lot of fun. We are going places with this project. Although now it's time to take our leave. Thank you all for everything. Take care.